In my 15 years of experience in the investment immigration industry, I've seen many people lose time, money, and freedom by picking the wrong passport or residency option. So this video here is going to explain to you the differences between both of them to make sure you get it right first time. Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. So I left the UK in my 20s, I'm a migrant, and I ended up building a very well-known business that focuses on citizenship and residency. But I also have a career and background in real estate and investments all around the world. So this video is to show you everything that I've learned so that you don't need to make those mistakes. Whether you want to reduce your taxes, or you want to explore opportunities overseas, or you want to build a legacy, or you just want to sleep better at night because you know that when you turn on your Twitter or your X in the morning, you'll see the world's richest man starting a fight with the world's most powerful man, I can understand why increasing numbers of people are looking to obtain a second nationality, second passport, different residencies, assets around the world, emerging market and legacy markets as well. I can understand this is an increasing market, and the reason being is that people want to know that they have a plan B or plan C. They want options. They want diversification. In my personal experience, diversification has been one of the main reasons why I am able to sleep a lot better than I used to, but it also was a long journey and a lot of mistakes that I made. But the thing is that once you've essentially almost perfected one, then you can start to show other people the way. What I've learned is that one of the main thing that people really want to do these days is that no one really considers that their primary passport is as strong or as sovereign as they really felt it was. This has really changed. It's a bit like always feeling that you always had dollars and you didn't need to worry about other currencies, or that you had euros, or that essentially you need to have diversification. Everyone right now, no one really knows the future. So the best advice is to really take a little bit of everything. And the irony of the situation is that the more you diversify, the more you plan for the future in terms of life insurance or wills or inheritance plans, is that ultimately it's all connected down to one primary passport, which if that passport is not as strong as it was, so that could be visa-free travel, it could be the ability to get evacuated, it could be the fact that you feel it's a stable democracy. All of this can change on a dime. So look what's happening in the US, look at what's happening in Russia, look what's happening in a lot of countries, Turkey, for example. Look at some of these countries, and more so, the more that we've got these alpha leaders coming in, the more we're feeling, you know what, like this person is going to build a power base. This person doesn't want to leave that power base. And we're going in that direction. You can see in the last few years, this is definitely the way we're all going, is people are saying, you know what, like I really am a patriot, but I also need to be prudent and I need to have a second option. And this is really what's happening right now. And we're getting approached by so many people from all parts of the world where you wouldn't normally think that they want to be getting a nationality. And yet when you look at the data, they're coming from countries because they feel that, yes, I've made all of that money, but it's everything I have, all my assets and liabilities is all connected to that one passport. And therefore that one passport, which I use to open my company bank accounts or my personal bank accounts, is all back to that one passport. So the irony is that you're not really diversified. Just when you think you are diversified across all asset classes and you're taking a bit of Bitcoin here, you're taking a bit of gold here, is that essentially it's all on the same passport, right? So essentially this is what we're getting towards, is that people want to say, you know what, I don't want anyone in my home country, if I'm especially a high profile person, which we deal with a lot, is that I don't want anyone back there knowing anything about this. I don't want that one person's decision, the president or the prime minister's decision adversely affects me, and therefore I don't want that to affect my rating at the bank, or I don't want the bank to say, listen, we need you to put a bit more AUM in because you know what's happening in your country. We don't want to see what happened with the Russians. I mean, one minute you're hosting the Olympics and the World Cup, the next minute you're persona non grata across all of Europe and the UK. You're having to fire sell your assets. You're being closed out. Dubai benefited from that, but no one wanted. And I met many Russian people who said, I'm just going about my life, and unfortunately decisions are being made that are impacting me on a personal level. Now, there's two paths you can go. You can go the residency path, you can go the citizenship path. Sometimes we have clients who do both at the same time, or sometimes they'll do the citizenship, you know, are largely a faster one, like a Vanuatu or Nauru, and then afterwards they will get a residency thereafter. But largely speaking, what we've noticed is that more than half of the clients who have done a residency, so Greece, or Portugal, Spain, before it closed, is they had already got a Caribbean passport. Most of the time through us, sometimes through another company, and they didn't have a good experience, and they came to us and they said, okay, we'd like to work with you guys for X, Y, and Z residency. But just to give you a comparison, Residency gives you the right to live in another country, and it gives you tax advantages, gives you lifestyle benefits. It can even give you freedom of travel advantages. So if it's part of a travel bloc, so you've got the ASEAN, you've got the European, you've got the Latin American community, you've got all these different ones. That will also give you other benefits. Or you've got CARICOM to name one that is in the Caribbean. So you can have travel benefits, you can have lifestyle benefits, you can have tax advantages as well, but you're not a citizen. You can build a base, you can escape high tax systems, and at a certain point later, you can also apply for a nationality. You even, if you have a partner from that country, or if you give a birth in that country, you can even allow citizenship for them, and then you can get grandfathered in or fast-tracked in. So giving a case in point would be Argentina or Brazil, where if you have a child, you can get the nationality. Spain is an example where it's like if you're already South American or you have a partner, the partner would be able to obtain the Spanish nationality within 2 years. So that's residency. Now, for a passport or /citizenship, and it's very important to find the distinction between both. The citizenship means you're a citizen of that country, so you get all the same rights and privileges. There was some news recently that came out regarding Andrew Tate, talking about why Vanuatu won't revoke his passport, whereas other countries like St. Kitts have revoked passports. Essentially, there is an argument around whether those people are considered second-class citizens or first-class citizens. Reason being is that if Andrew Tate was Kittitian, would they have looked to revoke his passport, when they did recently for a Chinese national who, yes, he did get convicted, but they revoked his passport? But would you have done that if he was Kittitian? That's a whole separate story that we can talk about at a later date. But essentially, a passport is in itself a travel document. Without a citizenship or an underlying reason or factor as to how you got that passport, then essentially you've got a travel document. So in the UAE, for example, I know friends of mine who've been given the UAE passport because they're strategic and have been of strategic value for over 2 decades to the UAE, but it doesn't make them a citizen. So, and sometimes you'll see people approach you and say, well, here, I can help you to get a passport. The key word you should be getting is that, how am I getting that passport? Because if I can't get anything that can justify that, then you'll be in a bit of trouble at some airport at some point in the future. I guarantee this. The second passport, this passport, whether it's a travel document or a citizenship that give you a travel document, this gives you consular protection, travel rights. It gives you an ID that enables you to do, obviously, things like open bank accounts or be able to online trading accounts, or any of the things that you can do with a form of ID that is a passport as opposed to another type of ID. So one thing to clarify is that it is not going to help you with tax. That is something that is a misconception, is that residency, fiscal residency, will help you to avoid tax. Residency to a lesser degree also, but a passport by itself, no. So let's put them side by side. We're going to put up a chart here, which is just break it down for some of you who are just at the beginning of this chapter and you want to get clear, is that the passport will give you high travel freedom, residency not so much. Tax planning depends on the country, but it isn't the same as a residency, which is clearly something that is very important for tax planning. The time to get passports, look, it really depends side by side, but I would say some residency programs that they used to be fast are actually taking a lot longer. I think that's because, again, coming back to the point that there's larger adoption around people wanting to get the second passport. But passports right now, they did get much slower. Some are still slower, but some are much faster. So we're seeing St. Kitts and Nevis now, the whole application is taking 5 months. Grenada's around 6. So those are some cases in points. Turkey now used to be faster. Now it's taking almost a year. And then obviously residency is something that needs renewable, but you can also get permanent residency. And then a passport, again, coming back to my earlier point, is that depending if it's attached to something, it will either expire or run out when it reaches its maturity at 10 years or 5 years, if you've got some of those passports, or when you lose it, or when it's full of stamps, for example. Get a passport if your current passport limits you, or you feel that in the future your current passport will be limiting you. Or if you want to renounce your citizenship, there's another option if you feel that really it's going to be a problem, or citizenship-based taxation is going to affect you. Currently, there's only 2 countries that do it, but we know that France, it's advanced stages of legislation. We know that Australia is trying to do it. We know that Canada is trying to do it. So it's pretty much just a period of time until citizenship-based taxation will affect other countries. It will happen to EU and UK. It maybe not be in the next 5 years, but it will definitely happening. Why? Because if you look at the numbers, it's very bleak in terms of how the EU and UK economies, and that is the first part of the equation, as in they need the money, so they're running out of people to get the money from, because the more that you tax the high net worth, they will move to the UAEs and Monacos and other parts of the world. Therefore, the tax burden comes down to the middle classes, and maybe they will stay as well if they can. But then essentially they will run out of ways to generate income. And what's going to happen is that they will come after the people who are overseas but enjoying the rights and the privileges, e.g. consular support. To run a consulate in a foreign country, you're talking bare minimum skeletal staff is $100,000, probably $200,000 a year. So you do the math with that, how many consulates you have around the world. The other 50% of why that citizenship-based taxation will be coming is the fact that they can enforce it, because banks will need to use still in the future euros and to a lesser extent the sterling pound. But when you know that the US government is able to tax its citizens around the world, that comes to be able to enforce it through all banks and saying, if you want to be able to trade in dollars, this is what you need to do. You need to ask your people on open accounts and regularly every year to be able to do a declaration regarding a FATCA form. So that's how you enforce it. The second most powerful currency is the euro, right? If you look at what's happening with the Trump tariffs, you'll see that a lot of people pivoted towards the euro. There's also Swiss franc, and there's also the Japanese yen. They could also do the same to their citizens. But if you look at the euros, essentially the more powerful the European currency, the euro becomes with all international banks, they can essentially follow the same thing. Now, obviously, Europe is so bogged down in bureaucracy. It will take many, many years, but essentially it gives you time to have a plan B. And then residency is if you just want to lower your taxes, or if you want to improve your lifestyle. A lot of the reasons why I moved to the UAE is because I saw there was a place to increase my top line and reduce my top line. I did another video about that, about why I came to the UAE, a lot of the benefits of being in the UAE. It's a very simple mathematical equation. A lot of people come to the UAE because they like all the glitz and the glamour, and there's all those people out here. But some of us are not living that lifestyle. We're just objectively looking at every single option around the world. I never came here before, and I wasn't a fan of it. I just moved here for the first time. Literally wasn't a one-way ticket. That's a bit of a story, but I just came here because I just did the math and just said, that's the place I want to be. And it has proved to be the best decision of my entire life. But that's residency and being a resident here. Although I do have other residencies in other countries, I have, I think, about 5 or 6 right now. UAE is still a place that I see the benefit. But if that is no longer the case, I will move and get another residency. What we tell our clients is usually start with the residency, but others, they just want to start with the passport. Just for you to know is that although a passport may take 6 months, what a lot of people don't know, but we know because we're essentially in this business at a very large scale, is that you don't have to, if the passport takes 6 months and you don't know if you have the funds ready in 6 months, once you're approved, you have between 6 and 12 months to pay. So that's something that guarantees you a bit of leeway if you want to have some kind of payment plan, so to speak. But that's what typically our clients do. They'll do the residency first, then they'll do the passport. Also, they have to take in consideration the tax residency. This is really important. So this is why I started a tax team, because you will have the tax advisor in your own country, the tax advisor in the country of destination, and then we will act as the go-between, because we know how to filter and advise looking at both sides of the coin. This is really important, this part here, because what it does is it makes sure that you're not stuck in the middle trying to juggle everything yourself with the limited knowledge and experience that you may have. Now, ChatGPT is going to get you only so far, but the other thing it can't do is it can't give you the scale and the knowledge that will allow you to leverage to be able to identify the right people and make sure that the right people are vested in your interests over other people's interests. And that's something that ChatGPT, as far as I'm aware of, and will never be the case, is that it doesn't have that leverage that we're able to bring. We're talking 11,000 clients. We're talking about a network of 17 years that I have personally built across all sectors. I can drop a name of one of my clients in any country in the world, and I'll be able to get access to probably one of the top people in that country. And I've used this in the past, and it has really helped me a lot. And this is something that I will extend to any of our clients that are on board with us. We did a video talking about the common residencies that a lot of people go for. So we talk about Portugal, Greece, Paraguay, Uruguay, Panama, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand. I'm not sure if Latvia is in there, but that's something we see increasing demand because it's a very low price point. It's 50,000 euros. That's right, 50000. If you're interested. But whatever your interest is, you can reach out to us on the team. You can book a call with us. You can sign up for one of our plans that will be able to holistically manage everything for you. Whichever works for you, it's entirely up to you. But essentially, you just need to be very clear on your path. And this is where we will be able to structure everything so that you have a very clear vision. This is something that is, the more that we're in a world where we're being competing for attention, or people are competing for our attention, is that this is what we do, is that we leverage all of this expertise that I have built over 17 years years, going back even further if you want to talk about overseas investments. And we just put it all there for you so you can tap into that platform. But remember, the citizenships are for generations. So this is not about what's happening now. As fast as AI and crypto and the devaluation of the dollar is happening over time, this is accelerating at a very fast pace, and you need to be able to have a plan that outlasts that fast pace. So if you're serious about personal freedom, having a tax strategy, protecting your wealth for future generations and for yourself in the near term, you can contact us, you can book a call, we can help you design your roadmap, and we'll leverage all of the team that I have. It's all on the website, everything's there. You can check me out, Google, LinkedIn, wherever you want to find. I think we have Google reviews about 300, we have 150 plus in Trustpilot. You know, I see a lot of people just doing a video just from themselves in their bedroom and apparently experts in this type of field. We are not those people. Contact them, contact us, make your own decision. Maybe you don't like us, maybe you like them more. Essentially, this is the platform that I'm giving, which is all my information, all this data that we have, and putting it out there for your consumption. If you like this information and you would like me to do more about this, then please show me your support, and I guarantee that in exchange for your support, I will invest more of my time to be able to bring more of the best quality of education and quantity of education that you can consume. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the other side.